Podcast, an amateur film study podcast for the average Joe, the buffest buffs, and the cringest bingers. I'm your host, JP, and I'm joined by my brother, professional Hollywood videographer,
Kory, with a story. Welcome back, everybody. We're here. We've got him, the edgelord himself, Robert Eggers.
He's in the studio.
He's just backstage. He's waiting. We're gonna call him up in a little bit.
He said he's gonna run. He's gonna run out like he's Triple H, and
he said. He kicks in the door. And he's like, "I got the hottest take on Lion King since fucking Disney."
Everybody's giving Lion King takes lately.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what the movie is. But the real take no one's talking about is it is shattering standards of posture for the whole world.
You're reminding me to sit up straight.
No, I know. You need to start sitting like this for everything.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah,
Dude.
Oh my god, there's gotta be some stupid, there's some stupid alpha male meme, like Chad meme with that posture, you know? The Chad posture.
This is the future of mankind.
Oh yeah, my man's some crazy traps. I will say that. Man.
I don't know how
he's got some big traps.
I watched a bunch of interviews with I think it's Alexander Skarsgård, and he doesn't. He stands normal. He has normal good. He doesn't have that craned of a neck, but he is really over fucking shooting that thing.
Oh yeah, he's definitely exaggerating that with that stance. But it's
big man.
But his traps are, you can get caught in them traps.
Yeah, for real. Like I feel like he's bigger than The Rock. The Rock's biggest. Like he looks like Triple H.
I think he's a smaller guy, like frame wise. But
really, I thought he was so wide. He had that like Adam Driver density, like the width.
Maybe I don't. Adam Driver's a lanky guy.
But I mean, the Star Wars thing, and when he's like shirtless and he just looks fucking thick.
Yeah. He's
that's
fit,
what I would think.
All right. Well, enough ogling. Let's get down. You want to get down to it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're doing this week Sir Robert Eggers. He's not a sir. He's an American. And I would consider the one of the du jour A24 directors. When somebody's like, dude, you got to get into this movie they always say movie studio, but it's distributor A24, and then they'll recommend you a couple movies. One of them will be an Ari Aster movie, and one of them will be a Robert Eggers movie, guaranteed. The short list of, if I had to name 5 A24 directors, he's going to be the second one. Safdie's would probably be the third. I'm
trying to think of other. I'm so bad with director names. Who did the Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer?
Oh, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
He would probably be the fourth. Probably. What about Trey Edward Schultz? It Comes at Night, Krisha.
I didn't see that.
Waves.
Didn't see it.
Yeah, those are all good.
Let's add it.
Maybe one day we got to see Krisha.
Oh, Daniels. That's mine. That's mine.
Daniels, Trey Edward Schultz. What's the guy that did The Green Knight and Ghost Story? I forget his name.
I don't know his name.
All
I'm
right,
so.
All right.
But either way,
but we're talking about one of the top dogs, and we've been wanting to do older stuff lately, and we are going to do more old stuff. But I knew with this fella having a new movie out, he's only got 3 feature films, and they are all hit us. Bang 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 bang.
banger.
I saw The Witch before The Lighthouse came out, loved it. Then I went and saw The Lighthouse, loved it. Then I went and saw The Northman recently, and you're gonna find out how I feel about that. But first, let's talk about The Witch. So the thing about The Witch is, I believed, I don't know if he discovered Anya Taylor-Joy. I know I've seen her in a few other things. He's
the kid in Twilight. I'm pretty sure, like the child in Twilight.
Wait, what?
Like the last one. The one where at the very last movie, Breaking Dawn Part 2.
No way. I'm
pretty sure Kylie said
no. That is not true.
As a child.
No, that is incorrect.
I'm looking it up.
I've already looked it up. It is not true.
Oh, never
Um,
mind.
yeah, Riss is a Twilight head, so she definitely knows. Um,
Well, I'll have to inform Kylie that she was
she
wrong.
was in something called Vampire Academy, apparently in a deleted scene. But yeah, The Witch apparently is her first film, and yeah, so that's noteworthy for Anya Taylor Joy's debut. It's kind of how I first got to know her. Before she was on things like Peaky Blinders and in like every movie now. I guess she was in one of the X-Men, wasn't she? Um,
Uh,
the New Mutants. That's it.
that's it. That's it. The one they tried to sweep under the rug.
Apparently, she was in Playmobil, the movie, and
Wow.
she was in Glass.
Oh, I want to see that so bad.
I did
I
not know
know.
she was in. She's in Split.
Oh, is she in Split? I love Split. I don't even remember her being in it.
Yeah, honestly, The Witch was in 2015, which is now 7 years ago. So
Yeah, goddamn.
she's a babe in this, really. But so yeah, this is like a super um researched um horror movie, but it is a slow burn, the classic A24 slow burn horror, and
Best
probably
time.
one of the best ones, I would say. And so one thing about Robert Eggers is he's really into researching, and so he compiles a ton of information and tries to make his films as accurate to what he's drawing from, whether it's folk tales from New England, or if it's lighthouses in Maine, or if it's Vikings and Viking myths, mythology. But yeah, and it shows. It shows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a level of like depth to it that kind of makes the world a little more immersive and makes it feel real. It's like attention to detail is a really important thing, whether you're making a big movie and it can make a small movie feel, I think, bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that shows definitely in The Witch. The Witch has a very small budget, if I recall. It has a budget of $4 million, and it made 10 times that. And it feels like, I mean, it's small, like it's one location really, other than the intro, but I don't know, like it works. You don't really feel claustrophobic at all. I know with some indie movies when there's only like a couple sets, it feels very like closed in, and it's obvious and it takes away from it. But this somehow it just like doesn't you don't mind it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. What do you think? The
Well,
world wants to know what Kory thinks about The Witch.
well, real quick to go off that budget, this is also notoriously shot with natural light only,
Oh
except
wow.
for the indoor stuff. And also shot in Pennsylvania, which is also cool because we're from Pennsylvania. And
Oh,
films
I didn't know that.
here all yeah, it's super cool. It's okay, I saw this back when it came out, and that was why it was like, oh, this is shot in PA, and then I heard it was all natural light. And it was like, oh, well, I definitely want to see that. But it's so good. This the reason why this is one of like a perfect slow burn horror is because it was runtime. Being 93 minutes, this is a breeze to watch, but it hits everything it needs to. And I didn't feel like you don't feel like you need more after it. Um, it's perfect. It is so creepy. The in the theater, the wildest part of this was that dude's voice in the opening. I can never remember his name, but he's the Green Knight. Um, that deep gravel, it just fucking like sets the tone for the entire thing because his voice is so unsettling. And then all of the like the old speak that they do just really like adds to this uneasiness, and the score is just it's so good. I've so much that I love about this movie. It's up there though for definitely like one of the best horror movies of all time for me.
Wow, The Witch is an all-time horror film, and I mean
It's
it really does hit. And honestly, so many of the all-time horror films are low-budget movies that kind of changed the
yeah,
game. Whether it was
it follows like that.
Evil Dead, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or
Yeah.
whatever. All very small budgets and big feeling movies. Um,
They did a great job with the scale and the scope. Granted, PA having that like crazy wood wilderness everywhere, it really adds to the density and the depth. Especially when they do like the wooded shots, even though they're like probably only a couple, like probably like 100 yards past like the clearing. It's just so you don't know where you're at. It's so deep and dense. Um, the yeah, oh man, I don't know how they got the moonlight shots though, because that's like uh, it's very bright moonlight, and I know obviously when you shoot on a full moon, it is fairly bright, but it's just for the cameras they were shooting on. I'm just shocked with the exposure they were able to pull out of it.
Yeah, I'm interested how they would have did that. That's that's pretty interesting. So I was going to say the big one of the big things I think that really holds the movie together is the fantastic performances of a well casted a well put together cast. Anya Taylor-Joy obviously was a find and has gone on to be a big movie star. Ralph Ineson, who I first was introduced to from Game of Thrones. Kate Dickie, also I know from Game of Thrones. So I think that maybe that they were pulled into it as to be like everyone's not everyone. I think you haven't seen Game of Thrones, but a lot of people have seen Game of Thrones, so it gave it that recognition, facial recognition that I think an indie movie will sometimes needs to take off. And then the boy, the little brother Caleb, who's played by Harvey Scrimshaw, has an excellent fucking performance.
Oh my
Like
god.
little kid performances are hit or miss, but this kid's performance is excellent, and it's kind of like honestly in a movie stealing scene towards the end.
Hmm.
And it's just really makes you feel. This movie makes you feel uncomfortable and icky, and in all the good ways. And you're just like you don't really understand what's going on. The sequence with the actual witch taking the baby, which the movie opens with Anya Taylor-Joy's character Thomason losing a baby brother, and the baby just kind of disappearing in front of her while she's playing peekaboo. And we see this old witch like mashing up the baby and rubbing the guts all over her naked body, and it's like very disturbing. But that's kind of
Yeah.
like all we get for the rest of the movie. And like this family is just like that's like what set the match and or set the set the
The tone.
fire, and it's just slowly eating this family, and they're just tearing themselves apart.
Yeah, it is so well done, the, like, because it's almost like a cabin fever thing as well, because 'cause they're so isolated alone, it's just a family, and it's only, like, even with, like, the silver cups thing, the animosity that the mom feels towards, Anya Taylor-Joy the entire movie, Thomason's her character's name, um, it just builds, and it keeps building with these little things, and it's done so well, because it's all little things that, like, the devil would do to um, fuck with you, I guess. But it's so good. The the kids say that they could see a witch riding in the night, and I rewound to see if I could, maybe if there was just like an actual like a horse riding in the distance, but I couldn't see anything. But I thought it would be cool if that, like, on one of those like night shots where they show the wood line, if they had like that as a uh little thing, because the witch thing is so interesting because you'd never really see it except for in the very beginning and in the point whenever Caleb gets taken. Um
Yeah,
but
the
and then at the end when it's milking the cow as well, but you want, like, there's a big point where there's none of that, and it does well satisfying your craving
yeah,
for something.
you're like not supposed to fully know. Like the audience is questioning what's happening just as much
Yeah.
as the family is. You don't know what is imagined. You don't know what is their religious paranoia, and you don't know what's real.
Mm.
But obviously, we see as the audience the witch mashing up the baby, and like I mean, I think we're meant to know that that is real. And it is not an imagined, dream or something. So like we know that something's going on, but like we haven't got any evidence of it from that point, like you said, till
Mhm.
the bloody milk, goat's milk at the end of the movie. Um, I think yeah, that's what makes it so effective. Is you just like you are hanging on like I gotta know what's happening here. What is going on
Mm.
here? And it's also, I don't think we stated the runtime. I think what was it, an hour and 37 minutes, something like that.
It's I said it earlier. It's 93 minutes.
Yeah, 93 minutes. I mean, that, like, being so tight, it really leaves you wanting more at the end. Honestly,
Really?
I think that that my only thing is, I think that this is one example of a film that I could have liked more of. But I think that because the constraints of the budget and, um, the scope, how to limit the scope and whatnot. And it works because less is more at the end of the day, and I'd rather it be
Mm.
shorter, and better for it than putting more in it, making it worse. But I really think that there could have been more to this, had there been a little more money available, and it could have really elevated it even further than what it was. That is honestly one of my few critiques of this whole thing, and I don't even know if it's a valid one because it works just so well as is.
I was gonna say, when I the first saw the movie back when it first came out, I had the exact same thing. Like when the witch stuff at the end, where they're all like levitating, I was like, oh fuck, like we're into some shit. And then it ends, and I was definitely in the same boat. But having like rewatched it for this, I granted I know when it's gonna end, but I love how it ends because it's just so like it's all real. It's all, none of it's imagined or whatever. And I feel like adding any more could potentially take away from everything that's happened up to that point. Because that's like how Hereditary ends, where it's just like they get into the cult thing in the treehouse, and it's just like ends.
Yeah,
And it's just like, what the fuck was that? But it's like, if you explain what it is a little too more, you might
Oh
lose
no,
the.
I understand that. I understand that. But I don't even mean with just the ending. I meant
Yeah.
with like just like living in this world a little bit longer, maybe seeing
Oh,
more
gotcha,
of the
gotcha.
town where they came from. Just like
Mm,
it could have, I think I wanted just a little more out of this, and
mm,
but I don't think it's bad. I don't think that like that's even really. It's barely even a knock.
mm.
But because, like I said, I'd rather have something be shorter, and less is definitely more in most cases, in my opinion. But this may be one of the few cases where I think that there could have been more put to it, and I would have really liked it. But I know it's not like at fault of the auteur in this, just because it's his first fucking movie, and it costs only $4 million. Only
Yeah.
4 million.
Only. The only. I mean, as the years go on, that is a smaller and smaller amount of money.
That's true. Especially in like the current times.
Yeah, I mean, even with like the union stuff, like there's tiers for indie films, and the tier like what's considered an indie film is like I think it's up to 5 million is considered indie, which even like I'm probably even like the mid 2000s that seems ridiculous to be like an indie. Like usually it used to be I think it was like up to 2 million, but I feel like even now you can get away with like 10 million. It's considered like an indie film. Um,
Crazy.
and almost all of that budget goes to the cast usually, and then the rest of it is because it's usually simple movies that are cheap to make, but the stellar cast is what gets them to blow up.
Also the writing. I mean, I know we talked about in broad sense the attention to detail, but the script is written in literally in early modern English.
Mm,
And it's easy, like it's written in a way that is easy to understand, but it is like definitely the way that like accurate to the way these people talked. I noticed all three of these movies,
mm,
the scripts are trying to be wrote in a way, written in a way that um it feels accurate to the time period and the place that they are living, and it helps with the immersion, but it's not so dense that it's like Shakespeare or something where you can't
mm.
understand, what they're fucking saying sometimes. And it's like
Yeah,
it's like a difficult, that's like a tightrope kind of to walk,
mm,
because you could totally go too far, and like it really
mm.
really is like special to know exactly that point where it's still entertaining, but it's still, immersive and realistic language.
Yeah, it's like that the Kenneth Branagh movie where it's like you know enough with the context of around it, like even if you don't know exactly what the words mean, you know what they're saying. Um, with this because there's sometimes, especially with the gravelly dude's voice, sometimes it's just like I have no idea what you're saying without subtitles. Um, but you still get it based on the performances and everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Maybe I'm just I watch more British television and movies or something, but I don't usually have any problems with it. But we do watch it. We do watch with subtitles, so I might not even know. You know.
Yeah,
um.
subtitles save me on a lot of this stuff.
All right. So well, is there? I don't know. I feel like there's this movie is pretty easy to sum up.
Yeah,
But
it's one of those movies where it's so good we end up not having like crazy a lot to talk about because it's so good. It's
there's
easier to shit on something than it is to.
definitely
Uh,
is. But the themes are all another thing that's really, really special about the film.
mm,
The themes of paranoia, like also, I mean, just like Puritanism and how it, drove people apart, and like
mm,
this family kind of went into the wilderness out of this sense of religious purity, and righteousness, and they're deathly afraid of what might happen to them. There's a quote I was reading over here that mentioned something like that. That they're kind of in fear of God, like pissing off
mm,
God, because they're so one thing goes wrong and they're gonna die. If the harvest doesn't go well, or wolf
yeah.
could eat the children, or they could get sick, or blah blah blah. But I don't know. They just like it works so well on a lot of levels, and I think that's why this is like one of the movies that helped take off or help the A24 brand take off. And it makes a lot of sense because it's really fulfilling on a deeper level, but it's also interesting, I think, at a surface level, and it's always special when something like that, like this, is actually kind of, it's challenging, but it's digestible at the same time, and it's just like a
Mm,
perfect mix. And I think that the next two movies of his kind of fall a little bit on opposite lines of that perfect balance. Not in like
mm,
not ways that they aren't perfect, but I think that they weren't received as well as this movie. Um, but
mm,
and I got to check what the other movies made, but I know versus their budget, this made a lot more. Um,
mm.
so all right, I think I'm good. I think I've summed it up. We got three movies to talk about, so I mean we could we could wrap things up here. It's an excellent film in all regards. It's pretty amazing that this is Robert Eggers' first film, and it is such a you really like. I think somebody with an attention to detail, and it makes sense that their first movie is so good, because it's like when you have attention to detail for the research and the set and all the information, but you also have that same eye, like attention to detail with your eye and how you want things to look and how you want things to be lit and shot. It just like it all comes together. I think that's what makes this dude special. And I like his films. I hope one day I don't find anything shitty about him. I mean,
Yeah, that would suck.
but regardless, he still makes good movies. I still will say that Roman Polanski has some good films, despite him being a shitty person. So I don't even know why I'm saying that, but I think because I'm such a big fan of him, and usually people that you're a big fan of end up letting you down.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
especially
that's
nowadays.
fandom is a toxic, dangerous thing. So so for that all being said, what are we giving the debut of Mr. Robert Eggers' The Witch from 2015?
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
4.5. That is a really good score. And you know what I'm gonna give it?
What? 4.
4.5. No, I think
Ah,
I need to double check. It's like this is the problem, because in my mind it's like between those somewhere, and I don't remember what I put down after I watched it. If it was I think I wanted to. I originally had it a 4, I think, from before, and I now, yes, I was right. It's a 4.5. So yeah, it's near perfect. And like, I think the one thing like I maybe could have been more. That was probably my only thing. I don't know what else what I'd do. But
as far as like a slow burn horror movie, I think this is like this is the blueprint. Like this is how you do it well in 90 minutes, and it's fulfilling yet not too challenging. It's not too much of an ask to get someone to watch this.
yes, I think new filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers, I think this should be, you know, in the mix. I think horror is there's a reason why horror is a way that a lot of people break through, and this is just a perfect example of one of those movies. But all right, so that is The Witch. So let's move on to The Lighthouse. I should have did an intro with a joke from The Lighthouse. I kind of meant to, but I forgot. Something about lobster or whatever. So have you seen The Lighthouse before?
Yeah, I watched it with you.
All right, I've asked you this like once a week probably, and forget that we've watched this before. So this is one of, I'm just gonna straight up say it, this is one of my favorite movies. And it is, I'm just gonna also straight up say it, this is my favorite of the trilogy of the White Eggers trilogy. And
the White Eggers trilogy. I like the trilogy, but the White Eggers
the trilogy is good too.
The White Edward trilogy.
But this is the Emperor Strikes Back of the White trilogy. And honestly, it's a perfect. Oh, I just accidentally clicked on IMDb. It is a perfect film in my opinion. I love everything about it. I love the cast. Obviously, it's just Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. This is like one. I think I was already on the Robert Pattinson train by the time this was like announced to come out, or like trailer came out, and I was just like already whooping for this. I was already in my I think I just like was in my A24 early fandom, and this, I heard this was coming out, and like, this is gonna be dope, and it lived up to the hype in every way for me. It is so cool, and it's so gorgeous, and it's so immersive, and it's entertaining, but it is definitely like, it's like The Witch and this, they're like really entertaining slow burn movies.
This one with the humor.
The humor is definitely that. You're right. That is the big difference with this one versus the other two, is how much humor there is, but it's also like how disturbing it is at the same time. And it's just like, I don't know if you want to call this a black comedy or it's just a drama.
I think it's considered a black comedy. Like, isn't it like when you?
I think I've seen that. But yeah, it just like lives up to all that hype. It's so good. The how do you feel about the 4:3 aspect ratio? And
I love 4:3. When 4:3 is done well, like with this, where it feels purposeful rather than like, because there's some things, especially in like the music video world, where it looks like they threw it in 4:3 to just make it feel interesting after the fact.
And like, it's like, yeah, some people put things in a different aspect ratio just because they think it's artsy, but it doesn't really add anything. But this really, obviously, it's meant to feel like an old movie.
It's done
it really
so well.
And like the music really makes it feel like old show or an old movie, like the just the way it opens, and then the foghorn constantly blaring through the whole movie. It's just very, very immersive, and it just takes you back to watching some weird. It's like you're watching some weird version of an old movie, and you're just along for this crazy ride. And once again, it is so well researched and so accurate.
The accents for Robert Pattinson is so, like, I don't know, it's so interesting. His accents are all so not like Nick Cage over the top, but just like, they, for me at least, I settle in. Like Devil All the Time, his act when he comes up, and they're like, well, I don't know about that, is so
I've never
ridiculous.
seen Devil All the Time.
Oh, dude, Robert Pattinson, he's on the poster, but he's only in the movie for like 20 minutes. He's one of those kind of things. But man, I laughed when I first heard him speak, because you don't expect him to go high pitched, and he does. And but then you settle in, and it's just like, oh my god, what an asshole bastard.
Yeah, he's really
Uh,
into doing weird, like
that's
over the top characters. He wants to be
it's
he's like a wannabe character actor.
but he's. I mean, I think he's on his way. He's
Well, I mean,
Nick Cage
like,
did Ghost Rider. He
I
did
mean,
Batman.
well, character actors, I feel like are like like in the classic sense, are not usually the star.
Yeah,
They're usually somebody that's acting weird off to the side.
yeah,
But I
like
like,
Gary Oldman or Willem Dafoe. Or like,
yeah, Willem Dafoe is definitely a perfect example of a character
mm,
actor. Like as like the highest on the highest of levels. But yeah, Robert Pattinson's really good in this. You know what I was gonna say is an accent of his that it took me a second to get used to was in Good Time, the New York
yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
Um,
You can always tell when someone is a non-New Yorker, like with like the accent. Like there's a difference between like an actual New York person's accent and like the faux one they do in the movies. It always just feels like a little off to me. Um, having said that, as a Pittsburgher, so
the movie is also pretty gay. I mean, not like overtly, but I think when you're in this kind of situation, there's a level when you're trapped on an island with somebody. There's going to be a level of blurring those lines when people do not have any sexual contact.
well, you have your Little Mermaid thing.
Also, masturbation is a recurring
Yeah,
theme in the film. It comes up at many times. We see both characters masturbate at certain points of the movie. Also, Willem Dafoe just like gets strips naked and gets into the
yeah.
gets
He
in
goes
front of the
Buffalo Bill.
light, and we're like not sure what he's actually doing up there, and like there's like
Yeah.
weird
Goodbye
visions
Horse
throughout the
starts playing.
movie, and like he gets to a point where we're not towards the end. You're like really not certain what is real and what's not between all the
Yeah,
like the gaslighting. Um,
yeah. The with all the fights and shit like that, I never it really just fucks with you. There's so much of this movie. Like I got a little bit better this time than I did the first time, but the like when they do the thing where is Robert Pattinson's running around with the axe. Uh,
well, I think it's
fucking
Willem Dafoe's run chases him with an axe first.
oh, that's yeah, and it's just like the way that they cut it and everything is just it's like it's so, like it fucks with you so well. And then add that what I wanted to say earlier with the 4x3, where that they use it this way to make it feel extra claustrophobic because you're stuck in the fucking lighthouse, and you're in a box just like they are. Yeah, seeing everything just adds so much more to like the tension and the nuttiness of it. Um, it's really good. I was saying I kept getting Buffalo Bill vibes this time. I don't know why I didn't think of it the first time, but when he's like disrobing in front of the lighthouse, it's Goodbye Horses just kept playing in my ears. Um, fuck.
Yeah, I can see. I guess I can see that. I'm not sure what he's doing up there, but it doesn't seem.
I assumed he was just making love to the lighthouse.
I don't know if he was just hanging out up there nude and just jerking it. And there's like the one scene where like there's like what you think is like cum dripping down from the upper thing, and then you like see a tentacle and stuff. So you're like, oh, it's just the tentacle slime. But then you're like, wait, that wasn't real. So maybe it was
Yeah.
just cum. That like Robert
Camaraderie.
Pattinson almost got cummed on by Willem Dafoe. Um, oh my god! And then like the farts. We didn't talk about the farts.
No, farts and beans, dog. That's the
Just
movie.
so many farts, and it just like starts right off. Like I think one of the first scenes, Robert Pattinson like goes up to the cot he's gonna be sleeping in and sets his bag down. He sits on the bed to like tie his shoes or something, and Willem Dafoe is standing in front of him and just rips ass in his face, just like right off the bat. There's like 3 times in the movie where Willem Dafoe farts in Robert Pattinson's face, and just like acts like nothing happened. And just like you're not sure if Willem Dafoe is trying to drive Robert Pattinson crazy, or is Robert Pattinson like he seems to be working hard, but then there's like I don't know, the
I
gaslighting that's going on.
Yeah,
It's just it's so hard to know.
because it's like I took it as just Willem Dafoe's character has just been there for forever, so he's just like he doesn't give a fuck. He's had how many wikis at this point? He just doing his thing. You live by his rules or whatever,
Yeah.
with the farts and stuff. But I forgot the second thing that you said.
Yeah, I don't know, but farts
But yes,
and
farts.
more of
Also
them. We
made of
need more
beans.
farts and movies in this and serious movies, and this did it.
I mean, it does so good. Like there's the Northman has a fart that I thought does not work. It was not.
Yeah, there was one fart,
Did
and
not,
I thought I
and it
honestly
was a
didn't.
comically loud fart too. It was one of those generic fart sounds that's in everything.
Honestly, yeah, well, we'll talk about that part, but in a bit because I need to be reminded fully of it. But I know what I know. I remember the fart, but I don't remember the context of the fart.
I can't remember either. Fuck. I know, but I
It didn't
know.
bother me, but it wasn't like funny to me. I remember that. I remember like it didn't
Yeah,
land for me, but it also like I didn't care about it either.
it only bothered me because it's the generic fart that's in everything you hear in so many things. If it was just like a normal or unique, more real fart or whatever, but it was just like that kind of thing that was like, it
Oh
was like, no,
yeah,
you
yeah.
throw
No,
these
I
like
remember
slap
Ethan
things,
Hawke
like,
farts. Ethan Hawke
that's
farts.
it, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, no, I don't think it
Or
was a
no, the
stock
kid
fart.
farts. No, the kid
The
farts
kid
when they're doing.
burps.
That's what
Or
it
no,
is.
no, the kid farts. Yeah, Ethan Hawke
Yeah, the
burps.
kid farts when they're doing their little ritual thing, and it is one of those like ones. That or there's a second fart I'm thinking of, but there's definitely a comically bad fart that is just one of the generic noises that I think just ruins the mood of it in that moment. But I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be silly because it's the kid.
Yeah, I will. We'll get to the Northman.
Sorry.
My feelings on that,
The
but
lighthouse. Speaking of the lighthouse, the lighting. I fucking love the cinematography of this movie so much. Especially, like, I think it's my favorite of the three. When it
I
comes to just like
agree.
lighting and shot composition and everything,
Uh,
it is so fucking perfect. Especially because you're working in black and white. Obviously, it's easier to light in black and white. You don't got to worry about color spill and shit. But when you do that, you have so much more detail in black and white. You get more like it's like a sharper image in black and white. And it's used so well with the softness that they do, and all of like the playing off windows like they do in the Witch. And it's so clean but bloomy and old feeling at the same time, but smooth. Like I guess that's what it put. The lighting in this is like butter. Uh, the way I look at it, where everything is just like there's nothing hard or harsh, but it fits the tone of everything at the same time.
yeah, I don't know. The gray scale works so well. Like it somehow it just like adds to the atmosphere and the like. And I think you notice the lighting is comes into play so much more when you're in gray and black and
Mm-hmm.
white because it is because there's so much more. If you want to make things stand out and have detail, the lighting really matters. And I think that's what what makes it's a big part of how this
Mm-hmm.
looks, and the attention to detail of how it's lit and how it's colored and the even the aspect ratio and everything. It all adds to the immersion of it. It's
Yeah.
trying to look like something old, but it's also very clear because it's new, and there's
Mm-hmm.
like the right amount of grain on it and whatnot. But it's all the pieces kind of come together, and it's just fully immersed in this weird world. And it just like it made me think about the 19th century and how like it's not that much different, but there's so much different at the same time. Like there's certain like they don't have some things, but they do have some things. And just like how the work was and what was it, the wages um and yeah, the conditions that they live in and how it just like descends into madness. It's just like and that's really at its core, just like two men trapped on an island descend into madness. And the movie's been done probably before, but it just works so well in this setting.
And just like The Witch, perfect casting. Like this is another one where if it cast differently, I don't think it works.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. It's the script, the performances, and the way it looks. Like that is
mm,
the three pillars that hold up these both of these movies.
I'm curious if he writes the. I don't know about for which, but for this one at least, if he writes like sometimes people like already have an actor like they're dead set on, and they write it based on how they know that actor would portray it, and that way it's like works to the strength. So I'm wondering if this was just like had to be Willem Dafoe, had to be Robert Pattinson from the jump, and then it's like base the characters around like those actors. Because that would make sense because it's so fucking well done.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely makes a lot of sense. Well, they definitely have a relationship. It's Willem Dafoe. He comes back for the next movie. I read that. Well, look, I know Robert Pattinson. I don't know who looked up who for this one. But I know that Robert Pattinson, like in his indie movie phase, he was like just straight up hunting directors himself. Like if he saw something he thought was weird and artsy, he would just like contact a director and be like, "I want to make something with you," and that's how a Good Time happened. And
Yeah.
I think he contacted Claire Denis for High Life too to do that. And I think it's like really what has like made his career what it is now. Um, and like now he's just this mainstream star again. And I think he really busted his acting chops, or he got his
Yeah,
acting
yeah,
chops in
he got his chops.
A24, and now he's back and he's taken
He's back.
seriously. It's not just like a sex symbol.
Mm.
And Alex Skarsgård's another person I think who was casted a lot as a sex symbol in his in his early 20s, and is kind of like I've read an article where he was like talking about how he was tried to like shed that kind of role, like didn't want to be typecast, by that, though he is pretty much
That's it. He
jacked
just
and
becomes a
ripped,
hunk. He becomes
ripped.
He-Man for this movie.
Thor, yeah, he's Thor.
Yeah.
Um, but
Fuck yeah.
yeah. So what else? What else do you want to talk about with the Lighthouse?
Um. Do you want to go over the ending?
I mean, so
It's like
yeah,
that.
go sure.
Yep.
You can go ahead, explain the ending. They
Oh, I
you've
was
been
just talking about
drinking
like
for days.
the shot, just like when he specifically just talking about the shot where it's Robert Pattinson is just like out on the rocks getting eaten by the seagulls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just say that like that's so wild, that imagery. The you shouldn't have killed the fucking one-eyed seagull.
Why'd you
Uh
spill your beans?
but yeah,
Why did
I
you
don't know, it just
spill your beans? That makes me laugh. That's my favorite line in the movie.
yeah, that's so good. Willem Dafoe's is so good in everything. He's so good in everything. But yeah, I that's like visually, I just thought it was really fucking sick. Like this it just goes with the cinematography and everything of this is
A lot of
uh
the supernatural like vision like moments, like the ending, or like when Willem Dafoe's like naked and he like turns into a lighthouse and his like face lights
mhm.
up Robert Pattinson. That's like actually an old painting from 1904. um
Oh,
and yeah, just like a lot of inspiration from old art and stuff from the period, and mythology, and it's just like it just works so well, and just like everything comes into place, and it works at the highest of level. Yeah, fantastic score, fantastic cast, fantastic cinematography, um fantastic movie. It's a 2 hour. It's just a little over 2 hours, right? But it is
yeah, it's all of his movies are easy watches. So
easy watch. Easy watch.
yeah. That's an 110 or 109 minutes. That's 2
109.
hours and or no, that's an hour
Yeah, it's not
and
even 2 hours. Yeah,
hour and
50.
fucking
It's
50.
hour 1 minutes or something like that. Hour 50 minutes.
Hour 49. Hour 49.
All right. So, what are you giving the Lighthouse?
A 4.5 as well. I like this just as much as The Witch, but for different reasons. And I think it is better cinematography wise, than it. I think that I just it's just not a 5 for me, just because I feel like I don't have it's missing the emotional thing for me, I guess, of being like that perfect film. Um, but it's just a great fucking ride, and it's an easy watch. It's so, and just like The Witch, it's just like I don't have anything really I would change about it. I think it's perfect as it is, for what it is. But I don't know why but it's just it's not a doesn't hit the same to me as like Power of the Dog or uh,
Moana.
no, not Moana. The God, what is the other my other big fiver? That it was one of the first episodes we podcast. Not Malhari, that's a production company, but it's
Minari.
Minari. That's it. I always get there's a production company in Pittsburgh called Malhari that I always get it confused with.
Yeah, Minari. So I'm giving it a 5. Boom, 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 boom. I got 5 on it. It's one of my favorite movies. And yeah, that's what else is there to say? It's it's probably one of my top 5 movies at this point. Maybe not top 5. I got a lot of 5 stars to have. So it's getting crowded. It's getting crowded up there, but I do. It's one of my favorite movies, and whatever that says about me, whatever, whatever, go with it. But all right,
not bad taste.
He's got
not bad taste at all.
Nope. So speaking of taste, it's time to taste the flesh of our enemies.
I gotta get in a position. All right, I'm ready. Is my head below my shoulders yet? I'm trying.
Yeah, he's like a space marine. There's a. I won't go into too deep, but there's like people always talk about in Warhammer they like draw the outlines of the models, and they're like if a human was inside of there, that their like their head would be like in their shoulders, and their arms would be out like this, and it just reminds me of the way that pose is. So
none of that shit is anatomically like feasible.
Yeah, it's like a Barbie doll. But all right, The Northman, the 3rd movie in the White trilogy, and the most recent. And oh yeah, we forgot to mention the budget of the Lighthouse. The budget of the Lighthouse was 11 million, and it made 18.3.
Taxes due.
Did you say taxes due?
Yeah, I was when I say
from the Game of Life on PS1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
I have the emulator ROM. That's it.
Yeah, me and Riss have played it once.
Kind of a life kick. We played it a shit ton, but sorry. $70 to $90 million.
Wow, that's a lot of fucking money, dude. For this,
somewhere there. Box office, 52.3 million. Now, technically, it's still in the theaters, but it's been out for a couple weeks now.
So I remember when after its first weekend, it did really, really, really bad, and they were just like, "This is like a legendary bomb." Like it's starting to be a legendary bomb. It looks like it's made some money since then, but it's not nearly gonna make its money back.
I just don't understand why. Because when I saw the trailer for it, I like shit a brick with how dope it looked. Like it was like that Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice game, but like a movie and way more pretty. The trailer alone got hooked, so I don't.
Well, everybody's into that like Vikings show and like like that kind of goofy shit. And there's like 3 Viking shows on various networks. So I guess that's what they thought was going to be a draw. Obviously, Robert Eggers was going to be a draw for the indie crowd. Like it was just going to be like this perfect come together moment, and it wasn't. No, honestly, the box office right now is very fickle. It's people are coming out like in droves for the right movie, which is unfortunately like a big name property. But like, it's just hard to get people in the theaters if it's not something they really, really want to see. I think Everything All at Once did well because it was fun.
I was gonna say that did well, and that got a theater extension. In some places they were like doing they're rescreening it in IMAX now in certain cities.
Yeah, it's like become a surprise hit, but I think it makes sense with the tone that it has. But this movie, I just like, and it's rated R. Also. I guess Everything All at Once is rated R.
Yeah, that one's rated R as well.
But yeah,
I figured this would be like people like our dads would be coming to see this out in droves.
Just like dads don't really go to the movie theater anymore. It's like young people really, and I think people will give this movie a try, but I think at a glance it might just seem like another generic, like fantasy movie, not like
Mm.
medieval fantasy kind of movie, and it's like just not that really at all. Um, I feel like this movie is like what it kind of has like the DNA of like the Green Knight, but then it's also way more entertaining and has action and
Mm.
like I feel like this movie is what I thought the Green Knight was going to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like not in
Yeah.
terms
No,
of
that makes
the
sense.
setting, but in terms of like
The
the
scale.
energy and the scale, or maybe not the scale, but the energy and like the mixture of there's some action. It's not just like
Mm.
a slow burn. This movie is not really a slow burn, I would say at all.
No, I don't know.
It's long, but it just moves. It is very much it's just your kind of run of the mill adventure revenge film. Really,
Yeah,
its
The Lion
bones
King.
are very much that.
Yeah, it's The Lion King, but I would say it does. I liked the little twist with the mom at
Oh,
the
I
end.
didn't realize that you're saying this is the Lion King. Yeah, I guess I see that.
Oh, this is yeah, dude. Scar kills Mufasa
Well, it's
and
Shakespeare.
Simba.
It's based off
Well, yeah,
Shakespeare.
yeah.
The movie is I think it's
It's based
based
off
off
Hamlet.
Hamlet. Hamlet,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the guy's name's Hamlet in it too. Like it's straight up. But I
Well,
just
because so this will blow your mind. Hamlet is actually based. They say is based on a
Hamlet.
Norse mythology and the story of Hamlet. So it's
Gotcha.
going back to the sauce, the original sauce,
Interesting. So this is where the Lion King started here.
apparently.
That's nuts. But the reason why is just it's the most relevant thing that everybody knows. Has the brother, the king gets killed by his brother, and his son leaves and comes back as an adult to
Yeah,
take
yeah, that
rightful
is
place.
true. That is true. I honestly didn't think of it, but I mean, I knew it's like this is like an
As soon as
archetypal story that
yeah, as
actually
soon as
really brings it home for me now.
yeah, as soon as Scar kills Ethan Hawke, man, I was just like, oh, this is. But like I was into it, and like I was gonna say was with the mom at the end where it turns where the mom was actually in on it. And I was like,
It was a
oh, this
good
is just like
twist.
yeah, it was like oh, this Macbeth meets the meets the Lion King. This is sick. Um, but that at least kept it fresh for me. But this movie does move so well. I think pacing wise, I wasn't bored at all in it, and I love that they did the old boy homage when they all jump that fort, but it's all in a profile and it's like a oneer. Uh,
Yeah, there's
such
some really cool
cool as shit.
sequences in this movie. Honestly, there are some cool fucking sequences in this movie.
I
And
will. I have some disappointment things, and I have a list of them. But
hit me with them.
uh, all right. Well, the first one is kind of about the end of the movie where that old boy shot I just referenced. That's how fucking epic the final battle should have been with the dick swinging on the volcano. But for some
Yeah,
reason, it
yeah.
felt very underwhelming. It was short
Yeah, I
and
agree.
ended.
The Dick Swing
Um,
battle. I think I built it up in my mind as something crazy because the movie was so good. I'm like, the Dick Swing battle is gonna be nuts. I
that's
wish I
what
wouldn't
I
have got
thought.
spoiled about it. Literally, boom.
Yeah, but that was underwhelming, and then that the old boy wonder is the most action shot of the whole movie. Like it doesn't get as actiony as that point. But the other thing that was annoying to me was like, when he is like, "Hey, I've got your son's heart to Scar." I'm just gonna call him Scar to Scar. Uh, and then he walks up, and I'm like, all right, this man we've seen him destroy everything in his path, get taken down in 2 punches by some regular guys. And I was just like, well, this just feels forced for
Oh
the
no! Oh, so apparently it was to let on the slaves escape or something. Like he was letting Anya Taylor Joy run away because he said there's a
but, yeah, but,
scene later where he explains why he did it. Because I had the same issue with that. I was like,
but he
this
could have
is
just beat the shit
weird.
out of everybody and had done the same
Well,
thing.
like
Like he wouldn't have
because
had
he
to
was
go through
afraid
that.
that they were gonna kill Anya Taylor Joy to like get him to stop or something. So he was trying to let
Yeah,
her escape. I thought that was also a little thin. So that was one thing I had an issue with personally.
yeah. I feel like they had him be like He-Man, and then from the time that he starts his actual journey home, he just gets like weaker and weaker. And
Well, like he's like starts adding these rules. Like I can't do anything until it's the volcano. I can't kill
yeah,
anyone until the volcano.
it's
So
my
now I'm
fate.
just gonna be just do
A
mischievous
slave.
things until then. Yeah, I thought that was, it did take some of the energy out of it from I did notice. So I'm like, man, we've been on the farm for a while now, and I
Yeah.
thought that people would be dead, and it's kind of just taking its time now. But once I accepted that what like I have to wait
Mhm.
until the
The
volcano
Dick,
and uh,
Dick Mountain.
the dick swing fight, and so like and then he was like slowly working towards it, and I was fine with it. Did like all the like the they were like trying to make them think that it was evil spirits and stuff, and how everyone was like
I
freaking
love that.
out, and yeah, that stuff was all real good. So like I was back in it relatively quickly after that, but there was like a slight lull around that point.
They had
Um,
a line. They had a line where it was like, "Do you think this was the Christian God? They worship a corpse nailed to wood or nailed to a tree."
yeah,
When
their
they're asking
god
about
is
like
a
the dinner
corpse
route,
nailed to a tree. And I was
I
like, it makes
laughed
it
out
sound.
loud when I
I did too. It made Christian sound so brutal. It's just like, man,
and
it's metal
insane.
as fuck.
Fucking but I thought that was cool though. I like that they acknowledged because of the time frame it's at, that like they're in the where they are in the world, that there are the different religions have their own gods, but like they're still it's like, right, it's not all under the Norse mythology in this movie. It's all and to an
Apparently,
extent
it takes place in the ninth century.
cool. Yeah,
So,
Christianity was around by then, right?
oh
That makes,
yeah,
yeah,
Christianity
that
was
was cool.
around by like the first century.
Gotcha. The man, the test of time. But fucking I forgot what I was gonna say. But moving on. The next gripe was I was gonna make fun of the posture. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was so ridiculous how this man
They were
spoke the
sitting
entire
around the bear. He's an animal. Like they're wolves, they're bears, they're animals. They spent the whole first third of the movie
Oh,
telling us
I
that he's
know.
training to be an animal. So like when he's walking through the village that they just murdered everyone, covered in
Yeah.
blood, and he's like that, he's in animal mode, and I think he was trying to like.
Convey
It was trying to, to show that visually that he is like morphed into a beast, and it's trying to
so
make him
but
look
he,
more beast-like.
so he has that same posture even when he's in a slave thing, and it makes him look more
Well,
like he's like
it like slowly
afraid and
comes
like,
back because I feel like he
yeah.
starts standing up straighter late, like when he settles more into being a slave.
When he, well, yeah. So when he's in the slave thing, most of it though, he just, it looks, because he's doing the hunch, he looks like he's cowering in fear around everybody. Just, unless that's meant to be that way, but
Well, it is a
it,
little bit like he's like a beast, like he's this wild beast though. Like I don't know, it reminded me of
yeah,
Conan a little bit. Some of
yeah,
his stuff, which I love that old movie.
yeah, yeah. I definitely get the vibes.
I don't
But
know. I didn't have an issue with the posture. I got what he was going for. It definitely is over the top, but I think I was here for it. I
yeah,
think.
I think that if Dick Mountain would have been as badass as the old boy shot, then I think I'd feel differently about that. Where it opens on a profile where his neck is like 4 feet in front of his body, just slow walking with the lava, and I'm like, oh, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Shit's about to go down, and then it ends in like a couple minutes after a couple slashes, and it's
You
like
know, I don't know if this is the same sequence you're referring to, but man, the one where they're like about to storm that fort and they throw like the people in the
that's the old
fort,
boy shot.
yeah, when they throw the spear at the Vikings and the one catches it in his hand,
Yep,
throws it
yep.
back and kills one. That also reminded me a little bit
Oh,
of
so dope.
300. I don't know, like the way it was
Yeah,
like set up. The catch and throw back for some reason reminded me of
yeah.
300.
Yeah, so that scene, it goes when they first remove all their wolf skins, it goes into a profile shot of them running and climbing the tower in that oneer. That's what I'm talking about, like the old boy hallway reference.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was super cool. Super cool.
Man, that was the coolest fucking part of the movie. That was like, I thought that was like the tone that we were
So
getting in for.
so yeah,
Uh
once that whole scene happened, I'm like, man, is there gonna be like a bunch of this kind of shit? Because I'm kind of here for this.
yeah, that's what I was like. I was like,
I
this
don't
is
think the
fucking
budget would
dope.
have been a lot more. Even I think the budget would have been even more if you had constant
I mean, this
battles
is a
like
high
that.
budget for what we got. Like, I think at least.
Yeah, I guess so.
The mountain probably is what costs that much money. That was probably a lot of CGI. The
The
lava.
lava stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that probably took up like at least 10 million of the fuck.
Yeah, and
Um,
honestly, yeah, I didn't like the CG lava shit. It reminded me too. You know what it
yeah.
reminded me of? A
Resident Evil
little, a
5.
little old indie movie called Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about Resident Evil 5 where they're fighting on the volcano,
It's just crazy.
Western.
It's crazy that what I'm sure that I don't know how much Revenge of the Sith cost, but I'm sure it was more than this.
Oh, so much. But I think that was more like in for that time frame, it was probably more like
But I
100 to
think it
150.
shows you how much technology has progressed because we have a smaller budget movie that has a same level of lava
Yeah,
fight.
and
Uh,
dicks silhouettes.
honestly, the dicks were overhyped. I barely could see the dicks in
Oh, agreed.
mine.
Agreed.
Dicks were
Disappointed.
overhyped. Disappointed on no dicks.
For real though, I don't know. There's something about that. It seems badass. It's
It
just
would
have like
honestly.
a
I
little
was kind of
whip
into
going with the
it.
sword
I
slash.
was kind of into it. The idea.
Yeah.
We didn't. I was kind of jumping around in the movie a little bit, but you know what I liked? This movie, like the Green Knight, I liked. I know a lot. Like people didn't
Oh,
like
I
it
like
that
it.
much.
I thought it was
What
cool.
I liked about the Green Knight was that it felt like a sequence of D&D quests. And this movie also, to an extent, like once it kind of gets set, it's set. But there are like these D&D quests. Like he has to go get the sword, and it's like this weird puzzle thing he's got to figure out. Like that is a straight D&D quest. Like I'm fighting this lich or whatever, this zombie and this death knight,
Yeah.
and I can't figure out how to kill it. Oh, I need to push it into the light, and like that is just straight up D&D puzzle. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like stuff like that, and I really liked that. It makes me feel it just that kind of stuff adds to the feel of an adventure film. Like there are little kind of mini quests that lead up to the big goal. And this does do that. The main quest of killing your brother and
Yeah.
freeing your mother, and then you have to actually kill your mother as well.
So it's
Twist.
like almost an hour into the movie is when he's like with the slaves in Iceland, and at that point, I mean, it's probably over an hour at the point where the fetch quest begins. And I was when I they're doing the fate thing, and she's going all over like what all he needs to do and whatever. I was like, oh god, we're just starting like the fetch quest now, and I was kind of concerned that I was about to get into it, feel a lot longer because I didn't know how deep I was into it at the time in the theater. I didn't look at the time, but it just going back though. Um, but it ended up just being the sword. It was just the sword and bang on Anya Taylor Joy, and that was Fire Dick Mountain. Like that was your quest.
Fire Dick
Um, Fire
Um,
Dick.
Dick at Fire Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I liked seeing all the cultural stuff as well. I
Mm,
think that especially the Rus people that are they're like early Russians. Um,
mm.
that was super interesting to see. And oh, here's the other thing about this movie: is this movie or is this movie not a near 1-to-1 to Django Unchained?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Another
Uh,
adventure revenge film that
but
involves
Django's escape
that
from the
also
start.
involves slavery.
Yeah. I guess
um
the second half of the movie on, yeah. If it didn't have the opening Lion King parts, I would 100% say agree with that.
yeah, if you
Uh,
remove the king plot, it is just
mm,
like I'm trying to get revenge on
on my
the
slave
on my
masters.
slave master essentially. Yeah, I guess that's the difference for sure. But I mean, it's not a 1-to-1. All right, I exaggerated. It's not a 1-to-1, but it is definitely there's a lot of overlap with this movie. I think I tweeted or made a post and it was just like, this is Django and Skyrim. Because it's the Skyrim is also very influenced by this sort of
Mm,
mythology and time period, and you see a lot of the similar architecture and fashions and whatnot in Skyrim as you do in this. So it's kind of like I think for a lot of people, it's like one of their main exposures to this sort of stuff. And but this is like actually the true shit from the source, and it's really cool to kind of see that. Um, Yeah, it's a really cool adaptation of a really ancient story, and I think it's a really entertaining way to have done it. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I this movie isn't perfect. It's my I'm just gonna get this out of the way. This is my least favorite Robert Eggers film, but
Same.
I saw a lot of people giving this movie shit in like in A24 groups and just obviously making fun of it because it bombed. And I'm like, I thought it was gonna suck, and I'm like, but I was like, you know what? I like Robert Eggers. I think I trust him. He's gonna make a movie that I'm gonna like, and I
Mm-hmm.
did. I did really like it. I was really entertaining. I think I read in an interview that he is not like he's happy with it, but that he had to make some sacrifices with the studios, and he probably isn't going to make a movie of this budget again.
He
He
will or will not.
will not. He said he does not want to
Oh
make a
wow.
movie this big again, because of the sacrifice. I think he wants to go David Lynch route and just make
Yeah.
small weird movies for the rest of his career. This might have been. I mean, if this is your Dune moment, I'd say that you did okay. This is not Dune.
Yeah.
This is
For
definitely
how much
not Dune. The
I
original
love
Dune.
Dune. Yeah, I love that one. That's but I think with all the poop talking I've been doing on the movie, like I said in the beginning of the section of it, I genuinely love the pacing of the movie, and I'm in on so many. I think it's more of just like I see the potential, at least in my eyes, of what it could have been based on what it was set, how it was set up. And I think that got me overhyped while I was watching it. And so there's just like getting off of the letdownness of it. Walk away for a year, come back and rewatch this later. I think I'm gonna enjoy it a lot. Because it's so well made in cinematography wise. It's up there with Lighthouse, and The Witch it has its own. It's a lot more of a clean modern look. Like big action, not a big action movie look, sorry, but like more of that like modern Game of Thrones type look.
Yeah.
But it's done so well. I mentioned earlier Senua's Sacrifice. It's a video game that's based in Norse mythology and all that, and it has very similar just visual tones and just straight up visuals to this movie, especially with like the red fire and the chanting and shit like that. It's and so all that was super cool and detailed, and just it has a look, it has its own feel. It still feels like it feels more of like a more mainstream than the other previous movies, but it still feels like his movie. um and yeah, I think it just either needed more action to go more in that route after that tone was set, or at least just the final battle needed to be a lot more epic to satisfy the lull in the in like the second act. um but it's still, yeah, it's a fantastic film. I still think that everyone should watch it. I don't know why you would. I don't know why people would shit on it. I don't think it's bad by any means.
I like this better than
Um,
the Batman.
Interesting.
Like
I like the Batman
honestly,
better. I think I like
by
the Batman
like
better
a
than this.
significant margin. Honestly, I was
Wow.
not entertained by the Batman. I was
You know what's
entertained
funny?
by this.
You know what's funny? You're not the more people I talk to, it seems like the longer that they've been since seeing the Batman, since all the visuals have died and the hype and everything. I think a lot of people both have just, and it's not like, while it was epic in the moment, it is it's the longer it's, at least for me too. I like it significantly less since we saw it. Not significant, but I like it less than since I initially saw it, for sure.
I just think that
Um,
it's like I think people got really. I don't want to get on a thing, but just real quick, I think people got really excited about the vibe and like, oh, Batman in a fucking David Fincher movie. This is like our dream. So, and like
yeah.
there's so much that is executed well through that. But I think that it's just like kind of a hollow pastiche at the end of the day, and just too big. I think if it was shorter, I think it would have been a lot better. It would have been at least
Yeah.
like an enjoyable movie, but it's just too
Mhm.
fucking long.
Yeah, if you chopped off that half-hour epilogue, and just ended at the right
There's so
after they
much
get the
you could
people
chop.
out. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that's a 2.5-hour movie that didn't need to be this long.
Easy, and that would be easy to cut half hour.
Yeah,
Beyond
yeah.
that would be hard, but I think you can even go further if you wanted. It's just like there's a whole extra act in there. But
Mhm.
all right. Back
Anyway,
Northman, I like better. Northman, I was actually entertained by. Northman, I'm like, it's not my favorite movie ever. It didn't blow me away. I didn't like feel anything from it. I mean, there were moments I was like, hell yeah, but it wasn't like constantly like, yeah, fuck yeah. And like, yeah, I did have some things about it, but ultimately at the end of the day, it was a really enjoyable film, and it was very entertaining. And I think like this is the kind of popcorn movie that I want, and I just realized that like this isn't what they're making, you know, like it's this 1,000 years of Marvel and Ryan Reynolds Free Guys and
I've heard
whatnot.
that movie's not actually that bad.
Of course
But I get
you
what
would
you're saying.
say that.
I really haven't seen it. I no, I haven't seen it. I've just heard.
Yeah, but you anytime Ryan Reynolds is in a movie, you usually
I
like
don't
it
mind him.
more than me. I like
What?
him. I don't like them. I like him. I think he's a very good performer, and I think he can be good in the right thing. But I don't like the movies that he picks. Except I like Deadpool.
I was gonna say Deadpool and the
I feel like
Pokemon movies.
people are
The only
trying to
thing I can
milk
think of.
the Deadpool shtick and other
Yeah,
things.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
But
I feel like I haven't seen anything other than Deadpool and
the
the
fact
Pokemon
that we're
movies.
talking about other things means we need to wrap this up.
Sorry.
No, if you
Uh,
you can finish your thought though. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying I can't think of anything else he's been in because of the pandemic. He wasn't in stuff for a while.
He
There's
was in
just
the
Free Guy, the
shitty Michael
Pokemon
Bay
movie.
Netflix movies and
Oh, that's right. And Red Notice.
yeah, Red
Well,
Notice.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, he's in some stinkies, buddy. But he's so
the
popular. He's like the Rock status.
I think it's just because he's a likable guy. It's just
Oh
yeah. It's just
yeah, I get it.
people just like seeing him. Easy on the
He's
eye.
funny. But all right. Well, we didn't talk about the cast really. But we should do that before we finish.
It's not as standout as the other two for me.
But it's still good.
Still good. Still
Skarsgård
great.
is perfect. Nicole Kidman is
Agreed.
actually really good in this.
I thought so too.
I think I constantly when I see Nicole Kidman, I'm like sleeping on her always.
Yeah.
But
I thought the same thing.
every time she's good. Every single time. Like Killing of a Sacred Deer, she's that good always, you know. And I'm not familiar with the guy who plays Scar, Fjolnir, Claes Bang.
Yeah, I'm not.
But he's fine. Ethan Hawke, honestly, hated his accent.
Yep.
Ethan Hawke
was
just playing Ethan Hawke as a Nordic king who randomly had an accent. So I did think that it was a weird casting personally, but he's a good actor. It's just he's a little stiff. He's very stiff. And like I think it works for certain roles like really well, like what First Reformed, but like in this role it didn't work for me.
I agree. I think it felt more like a studio cast than a casting than a personal casting. For whatever reason, because the casting in the rest of these movies, everything feels so perfectly like set in there, and this just it's the only thing out of the three didn't feel like it belonged.
Willem Dafoe is a small part as Hymir the Fool. He's
great.
Good. Then there's like the son, who's played by Gustav Lind, the son of Scar. Bjork has a small part as a Cirrus, and she's good. There was one person I don't have the name of the actor, but did you notice? Obviously, Ralph Ineson and Kate Dickie had small cameos in the film from The Witch, towards the end, but I can't find him. The name of this actor, but there was a guy from Lamb in this movie because half the movie takes place in Iceland, and the brother from Lamb is one of the slaves that plays in that game with Skarsgård.
Oh yeah,
he's got a beard.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. Wow, I didn't realize that at the time.
Yes,
that's wild.
That was him, and yeah, I was like, man, this is perfect. And it looks like it must have been down the street from where they shot Lamb. Because it looks like the damn same. It's beautiful up there. I never thought I'd want to see Iceland until I've seen these last few movies, and I'm just reminded on how beautiful it is up there.
Every time I meet someone who's been there, they always tell me how cheap it is to get there from Pittsburgh. Like it's one of those few.
Oh, because it's short and nobody wants to go there, so it's like a double whammy of cheapness.
Like pre-pandemic, you could get tickets for $150 each way. Like,
because we're on us being on the East Coast and it being halfway between here and Europe. maybe not halfway, but a part of the way to Europe. It's not that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool. Actually, that's a good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't know how much it would be now, and with there's still COVID restrictions or whatever. But yeah, it's on my bucket list of places to go. It just looks so beautiful.
But yeah. So what are you giving the Northman?
I am, and I almost feel bad saying this, but I am at a 3.5.
I think that's fair. I'm giving it a 4, but I think it's barely a 4, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I feel like I don't have enough. Like honestly, if Dick and Fire Mountain ended up being as epic as the Old Boy shot, I think that I'd be definitely a 4, maybe higher. But I just feel like it was just like the whole second half of the movie was just like a decrescendo.
I don't know. I was very entertained at the end of the day, and I did have problems with it. And like I said, I could be talked into a 3.5, but I think I'm feel good about a 4. Um, but yeah, I think our boy is 3 for 3 as far as making movies.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I was gonna ask when you saw it. I saw it alone at like 10 in the morning because Kylie and I's schedules ended up getting fucked up. And it was me and 2 other people surprisingly in the theater. So I
I
was curious
s-
how many people were in your theater.
I saw it at Cinemark, and it was right after work. It was like right before 5, and there was like I think 10 people in the theater, maybe a
Wow,
little
all right,
less.
because it's been out for like I think like almost 3 weeks now.
I think it's a trickler, and I think the more people have been
Yeah,
talking about it, there's been some more people seeing it. Now that it's going to be coming to on demand, though, I think that's going to be the end of the theater stuff.
yeah.
But I think it's had a word of mouth thing a little bit. That's
Mm.
kind of helped it make at least some money. Because I think honestly, after the first week, it was like $10 million or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was something really
Oh,
bad, really, really. Like they were like,
oh,
"This is a legendary bomb," and now it's like at least they're past halfway. Uh,
yeah. Fuck. I'm sure.
but
I mean, I'm sure it'll make it up in streaming of somehow, but
I mean that's a lot of
that
money, but they'll at least get close.
because you can't
Um,
even say you'll make it up in DVD sales because that's
there
not
isn't
even a
any.
thing anymore, and they make so much
It's the
less money
streaming
on streaming.
rights.
Like, yeah, unless they get it, yeah, they get bought out for streaming rights. That which
And
honestly,
on demand, like
yeah,
VOD, it will get
yeah,
some.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
I don't even know. It might make its money back in like 2 years, but I don't think it's going to this year.
but all right, I think we are ready to wrap it up. I did want to mention, I've resumed my A24 watch. I a couple years ago, I told myself that I made a commitment that I was going to watch every single A24 film, and I got about 80 some movies in.
Oh my
Um,
god, there's that many.
oh, there's over 100 now.
I didn't
Uh,
even know. Holy fuck.
yeah, so I counted them up, and I currently need 37 more films. Um,
Oh my god.
So I watched one past few days called Share, and it was all right. And I decided I'm gonna do a little update. Every time we do these, I'm gonna give you my quick takes.
Nice.
But it was okay. It was an okay movie. Um, but all right, next week or next episode, actually, we are going to be doing Stanley Kubrick because I want to know that the question is the answer to the question is 2001 better than Solaris, or is Solaris the one? So we're gonna answer
Hmm.
that question, and we're also gonna be doing Barry Lyndon, which is one of my favorite films. And so we'll be doing that next episode. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you follow us on all the things. Best Boys Film Pod. You can follow me at Slob Thomas and him at Kory with a story with a K. And we'll see you next time. Kory, hit him with the sign off.
Peace, motherfuckers.
Whoa, whoa.
Sorry, it's the Edge Lord.